Hi, welcome to Easy in the Kitchen with Mrs. Chase. And today we're going to have some fun. We're going to be working with crescent rolls. And there's so many things you can do with a crescent roll. These Pillsbury crescent rolls can be bought where the butter is in the grocery store. And I always get the original. I didn't realize until the other day that there's a whole lot of flavors of these now. So if you like that, that's great, but I prefer the original with the red band. We're gonna start with fancy pigs in a blanket that are so much better than the boring ones that everybody else does. And it only adds 2 ingredients to make them fancy. So kids, teens, and tweens, this is for you, and it's also for parents who need a quick snack for their kids after school or for a football game. So start by preheating the oven to 350 degrees. We're gonna do that. And then we're gonna dive in to these lovely crescent rolls, which are always so much fun to open. I hated this when I was a kid because I was afraid it was gonna pop at me. And they do sometimes. There we go. So when you open these up, you just put it out on a cutting board. Make sure you save the wrapper though, because these are baked according to the wrapper directions, and the wrapper says 350 with a nonstick pan, which is what I have, and it says 9 to 12 minutes. I always go on the low side and then check. So here you start to unwrap your crescent rolls. Just unwraps like a big piece of dough. These ones are kind of sticky. And of course, I've washed my hands before I started. Okay. And I'll come back in just a minute to show you the next step. So what you're going to do is 2 of these crescent triangles, you're going to pinch together so it's a square. So you're not going to actually separate all of them. You're going to end up with 4 squares, and you'll pinch them together so it's like one piece of dough. And then you're going to cut them into 5 lengths and then cut them in half so they look like this. So I'm going to cut. There's 1. There is 2, there's 3, there's 4 and 5, and then you're going to cut them in half. So when they're all cut in half, that's when the fun starts. You're going to get these Hillshire Farms or whatever brand little smokies that are in your area. They look like this, little hot dogs in a pouch, and we're going to start rolling them up. So I'll show you how to do that in just a sec. All right, so as you can see, I've been working on this, and I'm gonna roll up. You just take a little piece and you roll it up like this and set it on your tray. And then comes where this is what's so good about these. You take garlic salt and you just sprinkle a little garlic salt on each of them. You could also put like Italian seasoning on each of them. If your family has a seasoning that they think, but this is the time to don't just put them in the oven now, that's boring, right? So we're gonna put a little garlic salt on them. And then you take some Parmesan cheese, and you can either use, the bottled Parmesan cheese like this, and you just sprinkle it on top. It's okay if you obviously spill a little bit on your tray. Nice. Or if you go to the deli and get more of the grated Parmesan cheese, then you can stick some to the top. These ones are going to be so good. Stick like a wad on the top of each one. These are my favorite, right? And they're ready to go. 9 minutes in the oven and you're gonna have a great snack. So let's get them in. Set our timer to 9 minutes and we'll be back to show you the end result and to start our next recipe. All right, so our pigs in the blanket are done. And oh my gosh, look at these. I will tell you, they taste so good. And they're not your boring ones that you have all the time. It spices it up a little bit. So we'll have a taste of those in a minute when they cool down. So let's start the next recipe with crescent rolls. And these are called apple bites. So I have done a little bit of prep work ahead of time. I have melted 3 tablespoons of butter, and then I have all my ingredients ready to go. And then I have opened the crescent roll package, and I haven't done all of them because I don't have time to do all of them, but I took about half of the container and I just pulled them out into the triangles, right? And now I'm gonna cut the apple up. I've already pre-trimmed it. And these, we need to trim a little bit more. And we're gonna take each quarter and cut it into 3 pieces, okay? And we need to keep them about the same size. Cut this one up. Good. And we'll cut this into 3 pieces. So that gives us 6 apple bites, and we have 6 here, so we're ready to roll. Perfect. These are so good for a quick little dessert if you happen to have crescent rolls ready to go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make something called apple pie spice. Now you can buy apple pie spice at the store sometimes. It is a little bit hard to find, so if that's the case, you can make your own. I do need to preheat my oven now to 375. Remember with the last recipe, it was at 350. So we'll turn it to 375 and let's start our apple pie spice. So we start with 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. How do you bake anything without cinnamon really, right? So there's 1. And now I have to do 1/2. I'm gonna eyeball it. We're good at this. 1.5. And then we take 1.5 teaspoons of nutmeg. Perfect. And the recipe will be online on my YouTube site, so you don't need to remember all of this. So it's going to be 1.5 teaspoons. Of nutmeg, and then finally a teaspoon of allspice. Oh, I haven't even opened this one yet. It's always fun when you have everything ready, right? And a teaspoon of allspice. And you just mix those up really well. Gosh, it smells so good. It's always good to kind of clean up everything as you go. So you tweens and teens out there, don't mess up your parents' kitchen. And then in this small bowl, we're actually gonna do 1/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar. And we're gonna add that to our apple spice mix. So packed brown sugar. And then we're gonna stir it again. Oh my gosh, now it smells even better. If you have any clumps, oh look at, listen to Daisy. Daisy is my toy poodle. She hears scratching in the kitchen. She likes to join in. All right, so now we take this brown sugar and apple pie spice mixture, and we're gonna put it on the crescent roll triangles. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this. I'm gonna spread it all around. spread it all around. It's okay if you make a mess here because we're gonna take them off and put them on the baking sheet. Deary Daisy, you are loved. She's just one of my 3 dogs. At some point I'll introduce you to all 3 of them. All little dogs and all non-shedding dogs. No dog hair in my house, that's the rule. All right, now if you are a nut person, pecan pieces. So I am not a nut person, but I'm gonna put some nuts on for other members of my family for theirs. I'll make 2 of those so there's more for me, right? And now I have 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Nice. And we're going to dip the apples in the melted butter. And I have a lined baking sheet, and I start on the fat end of my triangle, and I roll this up. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, it smells great. Another piece of apple, oops, butter. Gosh, I almost forgot. Butter. And then roll them up. I mean, what is better? I love making apple pie, and at some point I will do my famous apple pie recipe with you. I will disclose Mrs. Chase's famous apple pie recipe. I don't disclose it to many people, so you'll be lucky when that happens. Oh my gosh, look at this. The smell of the cinnamon and sugar, whew, it's just awesome. Better? And last one. Now, for the topping of this one, the recipe will say to go ahead and put some of the apple pie spice on the top. I'm actually going to use cinnamon and sugar on the top. You can make your own cinnamon sugar or have some pre-made cinnamon sugar that you put in a shaker, but I'm going to put cinnamon and sugar on the top of mine. Make sure you print out this recipe. It's going to be so good to have. All right, now this goes in the oven. It says for 10 to 12 minutes. It's really going to be on the tenderness of the apples. Again, I'm going to start with 10 minutes, and then if it feels like the apples aren't tender enough, I'll leave it in for a couple more minutes. So let's get these in the oven. And we'll set the timer for our 10 minutes. Now anyone can do this. Can't you see? Kids could do this. Teenagers can do this. Kids that are headed to college or just out of college. It's an easy way to make some snacks for your friends. I have one more recipe, and I will show you that in a minute.
3.
All right, these apple pie bites, they're ready. Oh my gosh. Look at these. Look at how good they look. So we'll take them off. OMG. Look at these. Oh my gosh. All right, there's a dessert, Crescent Rolls with apple pie bites. Oh my gosh, we're gonna add these to our pigs in a blanket here. And we have one more thing you can do with Crescent Rolls really fast. So I have a half of a roll here. You can use a full roll, but I'm just gonna use a small sheet. What you're gonna do is take out the Crescent Roll dough and don't unroll it. You're gonna slice it with a serrated knife. Now these are going to turn into like little rolls, so we're going to flatten them out a little bit. Yep. Gonna flatten bit. Oh my gosh, these are gonna be good. So these are crescent dough garlic rounds, like it's garlic bread. And the kids will love them. And you know what? You could have your kids help make these because you'll see how easy they are. So what we do is we're gonna start with a 1/4 cup of melted butter. I've melted mine already. And we're gonna have 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Ooh, look at that. And then a tablespoon of minced garlic. Now, I'm not a big fan of chopping up garlic, so I like to buy the pre-minced garlic here. It makes my life easier, and I'm all about making it easy, right? So I put my tablespoon of garlic in here, and I'm gonna mix it up. Ooh, now that smells delicious. And then I'm gonna put this, spread it on top of each of these rounds. Oh my gosh, can you imagine what these are gonna smell like when they come out of the oven? Make sure you get all the cheese. Now if you had 12 of these to do, you might have a little less garlic and butter than I have, but that's good. Now you can put a little bit of Italian seasoning on it. I can't wait for these. How fun would this be? You college kids out there, you're gonna impress your friends. Little black pepper. Perfect. And it calls for a little paprika. That would give it a little bit of color on the top. Not a lot, just a little. There you go. Look at those. Now these go in a 375-degree oven for about 16 minutes, and then you'll have a great little side dish to any meal. So let's go ahead and put these in. Set the timer for 16 minutes. I'm gonna watch them because I don't often trust ovens and timers. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on it, and we'll be back with the final results of our crescent dough recipes.
3.
All right, these are finished. And look at how good they look. Now wouldn't this be fun to do with your kids, or if you are a kid, to be doing to kind of contribute to a dinner with your family? So I'll put them on the tray. Now it did not take 16 minutes in my oven. In my oven it took like 12. So know that you're gonna have to adjust based on your oven and the temperature, whether your oven runs hot or not. Now obviously, you wouldn't necessarily do all 3 of these recipes in one day like I have, but you have a snack, you have a dessert, and then you have something that you can make for a dinner, all out of Crescent Rolls. So kids and teens and tweens and college kids and parents who need fast ideas, I hope you have liked these. And if you have, please make sure to like my Facebook or my YouTube page and subscribe to my YouTube page as well. Remember, it's Easy in the Kitchen with Mrs. Chase. Thanks.